Well, I wanted to continue the horse hammock conversation here about horse hammock in Avon Park, Highlands County, Florida. We used to camp back in the 70s. Anyways, I get back to where I left off at. I was talking about how I was walking the sand hills and the creek swamps and all that. I'm gonna tell you, I've hunted in the Everglades since then. I've hunted all up here in North Florida, Ocala National Forest, and I have seen moccasins, but I don't believe I've ever seen the moccasins that there was along Arbuckle Creek. I'm gonna tell you now, they were thick. So anyways, yeah, I was just thinking about that the other day, about the first white-tailed deer I ever seen in the woods was there, right down there, about 3 miles from camp there at Horse Hammock. I had walked one morning in there, and it was all like scrub pine, sand hill, and I'm walking along there, and all of a sudden there's a clearing, I guess where they had cut it, I guess years ago. And I just happened to look to my left out there, and there was two deer standing out there, one doe and one. It was either a enormous buck, or it was because it was the first one I'd ever seen, but it was a big buck, even though it was the first one I ever seen. He was just standing there. That morning sun was hitting behind him, hitting like on his antlers and shining on him. Man, I just stood there. I didn't know what to do. I just stood there with my mouth open looking. And I don't know how long they stood there, and finally they run. Well, I was so excited, and I can't explain to anybody how excited I was about this, that I turned around and I broke out running, and I never missed a beat. I run just as hard as I could get back to camp there. But this was probably, the time I got back, it was about 11 o'clock in the morning, 11:30. Well, just so happened, Mr. Dawson Saul was already back from fishing, him and Miss Carlene. And man, I didn't know what to do. I was so excited. So I went to telling him about those deer and that buck. And man, he was as excited as I was, I guess, listening to my teenage story. And I never forget that. That's be with me the rest of my life. But yeah, and then that same area, another weekend, and it was cold then. It was probably in hunting season, I guess, but we wasn't hunting over there, you know. They were all fishing. But remember when I found my first old tree stand? You know, just like them old homemade tree stands up a pine tree. And man, I seen that tree stand, and I looked at it, and it's like, I don't know. I wanted to hunt so bad. And so I looked around there, looked at it. I started to climb up in it, but I said no. But it was in a place. There was some big pines in there, and a bunch of wiregrass. and the palmettos were kind of low. And it looked like, even from my memory back then to now, it looked like a perfect spot up in there. But I know I'm rambling on with this silliness, but but I tell you, and I know there probably ain't two people in the world that have interest in listening to this, but all right, let me get off here. Everybody say go Gators.